Okay, so we got a little bit of news today. A little bit of bad news here, as you can see from the title. Cam Akers is gonna be out for the remainder of the 2021 season. He has torn his Achilles, and it's it's too bad, really. It's too bad. Um, but we're gonna go ahead and dive into this article here, and then I'm gonna tell you why and give my opinion on why I believe we are going to be just fine. I believe we are going to be just fine. Not only that, I believe that we are not going to skip a beat. Our offense is not going to skip a beat. Um, it it is a real kick in the teeth that Cam Akers has done for the season. I really wanted to see what he could do. I feel I well I yeah I felt he could be a 1,000 yard rusher for us. Um, I really felt like he was g- due for a breakout season, and he's a physical runner. He's a very he's good make it good at making people miss. So I was excited to see him play. So it is disappointing that he will be out for the rest of the season, but I'm not in panic mode. I'm actually, while I'm disappointed that he's gone, I'm going to tell you why I think we're going to be okay. So, moving on here, the LA Rams suffered their first unfortunate blow to the season, perhaps the first devastating news for any NFL team in 2021, with the report on Tuesday that running back Cam Akers tore his Achilles while working out this week. He is expected to be out for the entire 2021 campaign. And as we can see from a tweet here from Tom Pelissero, running back Cam Akers suffered a torn Achilles while training, per source. Brutal blow for LA, which loses its leading rusher from last season a week before camp begins. That does suck, man. That does suck. Rams running back Cam Akers ruptured his Achilles while working out and underwent testing that confirmed the injury, per source. He is expected to miss the entire 2021 season. This by Adam Schefter. Akers was a revelation last December and in the playoffs, helping the Rams offense get on track by being an explosive force at the running back position. He rushed for 224 yards in two playoff games. It was expected to be LA's unquestioned number one back for the 2021 season. That duty now appears to fall back to Darrell Henderson, who was the Rams' number one back in the beginning of last season, but who also dealt with some injuries and then fell out of favor when the team needed a spark. Akers was the 57th overall pick out of Florida State back in 2020. This leads to a series of questions that will need to be answered, like who will replace Cam Akers. Um, we and This is an article we're going to look at here in a second about the current depth chart, and this is what I agree with right here. We don't need to go get any free agents because I believe we have a group of talented running backs, and we have quite a number of them. I think we're stacked at the running back position. So we're going to look at that in a second here. The second line here says, "Who could we get in free agency?" Todd Gurley. I just, I chuckled at this, and while I love Todd Gurley, it's not going to happen. There's for whatever reason, whoever's, uh, they just it seemed to be a little the relationship ended a little rough between Gurley and the Rams, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. Adrian Peterson, I'd love to have Adrian Peterson, but I don't think that's gonna happen. Le'Veon Bell, no thanks. I'd pass. I honestly feel like we have better guys on our team than any of these guys here. I really do. In another option is we could trade for someone, and there's an article explaining about 16 running backs in the AFC who might be available if Les decides to pick up the phone. And let me just tell you, Les, relax, okay? We don't need the trade. Put the phone down. We've done enough trading. We need to start accumulating picks again. Okay, we've been giving up way too many picks. I love what you've done getting us all these big name players, but we just need to chill. All right. I believe we have good depth at the running back position, and I believe you think that too as well, Les. I believe you and Sean believe that you have a good stable of running backs, and we can just go that route. And we're gonna get to this here in a second because I thought it was a pretty interesting little article here on all our backup players. But first, Akers here has sent out a message following the devastating injury diagnosis. And let's see. Okay, here we go. He sent out a tweet. He's basically saying, let me see if I can highlight this. Oh, no, 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 no. I don't want to go to Twitter. All right. I just want to thank any and every person sending prayers my way and wishing me well. I hate I hate this happened, but I'm in great spirits and I understand God makes no mistakes. I'll be back better than ever. In no time, I'm a soldier. Again, thank you. And again, I feel bad for him because I feel from everything I hear, he's a good guy. He has a good head on his shoulders. I watched a few interviews from him. Um, he seems very team oriented. He doesn't seem uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a diva. He just seems like a you know like a normal person, like a normal team football player. A nice guy, and he's a talented running back. So I hated that this happened, and I hope the recovery process is smooth, and I hope he can come back next season without skipping a beat. I have made it known before. I'm a little I'm a little worried whenever a player comes back from a torn ACL or a significant injury like this because it can affect their it, it's been shown to affect their play. I'm still a little scarred by the Sam Bradford ordeal back in the day, but I think by his work ethic and modern medicine, I think he's going to be just fine. So, you know, good luck to you, Mr. Akers. But we're going to go ahead and go back here and we're going to check out this article here on our stable of running backs and why we as Rams fans should not panic. And not only should we not panic, we should still be excited and we should still hold the team to such a to the high standards that we have for them. You all heard the news. I'm not going to say it just because I just feel like I shouldn't. I'm just concentrating on the first game against the Bears. But needless to say, the Rams are expected to go places. So I'm just going to leave it at that. So let's check out this article here. All right, let's take a look at our depth chart. All right. So, okay, so this is our number one backup here, Darrell Henderson. Someone I've really I've liked since we drafted him. He's 24 years old. He's had 177 carries, 771 yards, 4.4 YPC, 5 touchdowns, 20 receptions, 196 yards, a touchdown, and 0 fumbles. Henderson is now the only running back on the roster who has any real NFL experience under his belt. A third round pick in 2019. The team hoped he could be an heir to Todd Gurley following his own set of injuries, but that never came to fruition. Henderson had an injury setback before week 1 of last year, leading Akers and Malcolm Brown to get a heavier workload. He then saw more playing time and rushed for 195 yards in week 2 and 3 combined, but then he fell out of favor, only had a couple more games where he contributed much. Henderson finished the 2020 season on injured reserve. He now becomes the de facto number one, but I think training camp will be an opportunity for another player to step up and start at running back for the Rams. Whether he's on the roster already or not, there should be competition for Henderson. Now, while I believe that's true, I believe Daryl is going to be our number one. I do. I think he's very talented. He has a very good cutback. I've noticed he's very quick. Uh, he does have explosive capabilities. I liked what I saw. The only problem with Daryl, he seems to be knock on table here. He just he seems to be a bit injury prone. You know, he's several times already in his short time with us. He's had to miss some time due to little nagging injuries here or there. Um, and from my understanding, I believe he's still recovering from a knee injury at this time. I believe, if I'm correct. So that just it gives me pause a little bit because if he's going to be the number one, he needs to be able to stay on the field, and I do believe he'll be number one, but it, it's just something to keep in mind that he does seem to be a bit injury prone, but when he is on the field, he has produced pretty well, and I think we can use him a lot in the screen game. I think he'd be great for screen passes. Get him out in space. He's good at catching the football. I feel like if we do that, either put him in the screen game and maybe some outside zone runs, and he will do well for us. So this is my number one pick here. I'm excited to see him play, and I wanted to see him more regardless. Even if Akers was playing, I wanted them to implement Henderson more, and now we're gonna see him a lot more due to unfortunate circumstances. All right, next, someone who has been praised by Sean McVay and Aaron Donald as well. Xavier Jones. Last season, Aaron Donald was asked if he noticed anybody that stood out in the scrimmages. I believe it was around training camp time of last year, and that impressed him. And Aaron Donald said one was Micah Kaiser, one of our inside linebackers, and the second was Xavier Jones. He said he was very impressed with what he saw, so that whenever whenever I heard that, it gave me pause because coming from Aaron Donald, who is a hard worker himself, says a lot. He said the same thing about John Wolford last year, which made me, uh, which came at a time when Wolford was about to make his first start. Not anyone knew anything about him, and there was a lot going into that Arizona game. Donald had said that, and that made me a little optimistic. And sure enough, Wolford played well in that Arizona game and won the game. So I put some stock into what Aaron Donald has to say, and he said he liked what he saw in Xavier Jones. Xavier Jones has more career tackles, 3, kick returns, 1, than he does career rushing attempts or offensive snaps, which would be 0. He was an undrafted free agent out of SMU in 2020, rushed for 1,276 yards and 23 touchdowns as a senior in 2019. Jones did deal with some injuries in college requiring missed time. Yeah, apparently he has some injuries as well. And let's see if I can Let's see if we can check this guy out here. Check him out. Oh, let me start. Let me start this over. Hold on. Okay. All right. This is him right here. This is him right here. All right. Look at that. Ooh, look at that. Look at that cutback. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. Look at him go. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I love to see it. I love that explosive capability. I love it. Look at him. Hell yeah. Made a move and hit the Jets. Yep. This from ESPN here on Twitter. So I'm excited to see him. Like the Aaron Donald's like uh Aaron Donald voicing favor for him got me excited. That got me excited by that alone. So I will be very excited to see how he does in training camp. Moving on, we have Raymond Calais, 23. Calais rushed for 886 yards and 117 carries during his final college season at Louisiana. He was a seventh round pick for the Buccaneers in 2020. He was waived and picked up by LA. I remember that. He has 0 offensive snaps and is expected to be more of a kickoff return specialist. Now, I've heard Sean talk good about him too. So, um, uh, uh, he may be someone they stick on special teams, like they were just saying here, as a kickoff return specialist. But I'll keep an eye on him too. He uh, he seems to be pretty talented as well, from what and Sean has voice favor for him as well. So that I always like hearing that. Now Jake Funk, this is the guy. I think this might be my dark horse to make some noise. Him, okay, so Jake Funk and Jacob Harris at tight end, the two guys we drafted this year, I are my dark horses to really stand out of our rookie class this year. Now he's age 23. Injuries, again, injuries, man. They're Injuries were a major part of Funk's identity at Maryland, where he suffered a torn ACL to each of his knees. That's not good. He barely saw the field for the first 4 years of his college career, and then had 60 attempts for 516 yards, 8.6 YPC as a fifth-year senior. He's a seventh round pick for the Rams. And despite the injuries, I just he seems he was all the reports out of minicamp and OTAs, and that's I understand it's just OTAs. There's no pads. They're just in shorts, kind of. Not really going 100%, and I understand that, but the reports were he was doing really, really well, and people liked what they saw out of him, which got me excited. Let's see here. We got another tweet. Jake Funk, running back Maryland, ran in the 4.4s, jumped 38 inches, had a 10-inch broad jump, an incredible 6.71, 3 cone. I messed that up there. He's racked up special teams tackles over the years. Guys like this will catch a team's attention in the draft process. Yeah, I think he's going straight to special teams, but I think we could see him possibly. Sean could make some room for him, I believe, on the offense. Here we go. I think that's him, right? Is that what it was? Hold on. Oh, this guy right here. Okay, this guy. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Boom! Oh my God! I love. You love to see it. You love to see it. Boom! Look at that. You love to see it. You love to see it. That's why I love him. That's why. That's why I love what I see. Anyway, let's watch it again. Let's watch it again. I said it before. I want our team to be physical, physical, physical. We need to knock dudes out this season. Boom! Just like that. Let's see it again, sir. Boom! You'll love to see it. You'll love to see it. Look at that. laying the wood on him. I absolutely love it. I think we can make room for him. I think we can make some room for him. So Jake Funk, I believe him and Jacob Harris are gonna stand out this season. That's just my opinion. We'll see what happens. Now the new guy here, Otis Anderson, young guy, 22. Finally, Anderson was an undrafted free agent pickup out of UCF this year. UCF. His career high was 726 rushing yards and 113 carries during his junior season in 2019. Last year, Anderson had 125 carries for 687 yards. For 687 yards. And this is the guy right here. He puts out prayers have been answered. Thank you, God, if you're a supporter slash family. Thank you for your concern to the Rams NFL. Thank you. So who knows? He may surprise at camp, but I feel like he'll probably be the third or fourth guy on the roster. But I love seeing unknown guys get a shot. It's the Kurt Warner story, man. This is how legends are made, guys. Unfortunately the starter goes down, complete unknown comes in and shows you a talent you never thought he had. And we could be looking at that situation right now with any of these guys, with Otis, with Jake, Raymond, Xavier, and Daryl. We have a stacked room here. We don't need to go out and get anybody else. We don't need to sign a veteran. We don't need Adrian Peterson. We don't need any of those guys. We don't need to waste any more picks, give up any more picks than we already have. We don't need to make any trades. We don't need to do any of that. We got a stacked room already. I think we are going to be just fine. It breaks my heart that Cam Akers is going to be out for the season. I know he's a very hard worker from what I hear, but it's unfortunately he's gone. He's gone for the season, guys. So this is our guys that we have to go with. And I, for one, am very confident in our group of running backs here. Going to be very interested indeed to see how they perform in training camp. But all right, guys, that is it. A little bit of bad news today with Cam Akers, but I think this is just an opportunity to showcase the depth that we have at running back. And I believe some young guys, some unknown guys are going to be able to get a shot and make a name for themselves. And I'm very excited to see it. All right.